Hello, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Mama Robin. I try to upload every Wednesday or every other Wednesday, and if you've been here before, then welcome back. So, I did a life updates video last time. I'm still kind of doing a life update video, but I'm touching on certain subjects. Both my daughter and I are currently trying to date. I ended my relationship with my ex actually a while back. She ended hers fairly recently, but I'm trying to date and she's trying to date. And we were talking about the differences between dating 13 years ago, in between my ex-husband, well, my first ex-husband and my second, and dating now. And we were talking about, like I said, the differences in that. And we were talking about how things are just in general scarier now. Like there's more and more cases, even if they're not national, there's local cases of a boyfriend or a fiance or a husband killing his partner. And, I was telling her, I said, I was 27 when I met your dad. Because I had my kids in my 30s, my early to mid 30s. But anyway, I was 27. I was 27 when I met your dad. And I said, back then, when I would meet a guy or be asked out or something, and I would want to go on a date, my biggest concern was being raped. Now, don't misunderstand. Being raped is absolutely horrifying. It's a horrifying experience. It's terrifying. It's violating. It's everything. It's horrible. And sometimes rape victims get killed. But as horrible as it is, it's not as scary as today's fears. And we were talking about, like I said, when I first started dating her dad, typically your biggest fear on a bad date, well, your bad date was if it was a wrestling match, trying to keep your clothes on because they were handsy. Occasionally, your concern was rape, and there was always the slim chance that you were picked up by a serial killer and you were killed. But compared to today's standards, that's nothing. The fear is so much more intense now because there's so much real danger out there. I mean, there's always been real danger. I'm not saying that rape is not scary or dangerous or that being killed's not. But now your concern, your one of your scariest things is not about so much about being raped. It's about being kidnapped and chained up in a basement and being held captive and tortured to death or whatever. That's far more realistic. Or actually meeting somebody that you think is a good person because they're got that mask on. They're a narcissist actually, and they got that mask on, and they're actually a good person. Or you think they are, and then you're married to them for 8 years, 6 years, 9 years, whatever, and they turn out to be a narcissist, and they turn out, I don't know why my light's changing in the room. It's going from bright to dark. But they're, you've married to them for 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, whatever, and their mask falls off and they're not a good guy. They're, they kill you. So for Christmas, being that my daughter's dating again, and I'm very worried about her every time she goes on a date. I didn't used to worry about it as much as I used to worry about her getting raped. Now I worry about her getting killed and or kidnapped and tortured or something. And I worry about that for myself. Like me, I still talk to their dad, the kid's dad. I talk to him a little bit every day, probably through text messages, and then about once a week we sit on the phone. We talk. we've been apart for 13 years, and it took us this long to consider ourselves friends. We weren't even, I didn't want anything to do with him. When we first split up, I wanted nothing to do with their dad. Nothing to do with him. Because even though he wasn't the crazy narcissist that I was married to, and even though his damage he did to me was different because he cheated on me, but that, in comparison to what I've been through, is nothing. However, we talked when we were talking about her dating and stuff, and we're talking about the fact that I'm trying to date, and I was explaining to him, I said, Christmas time came, instead of buying something fun, really, or whatever, for my daughter, instead of buying her something fun, that she would want, I bought her something practical that she probably didn't realize she needed. But now, after a couple of scares, she's glad she has. I bought her a stun gun and pepper spray. And I didn't buy them just like the cheap stuff you can buy just anywhere. I went and spent some money. And I got her a good stun gun, and I got her quality pepper spray. Now trust me, I looked up Texas laws before I bought all this stuff. And I bought the same stuff for myself because I'm going on dates. Well, one day I was watching Dateline or something. I don't remember what it was. And they were talking about a nail polish. And this is obviously non-sponsored. I don't know enough people to be sponsored, but they're talking about a nail polish called Undercover Colors. And what it is, I mean, you can go look it up in case I'm misremembering what I looked up. It's a nail polish that changes to, like, let's say you put it on and it's red. If a toxin enters your body, it changes color to let you know that there's something wrong. I'm thinking about getting a couple bottles of it as soon as I can. I don't know. I'm going to do a little bit more research on it, see if it's worth the money, because it is pricey. But if it actually does what it says it's going to do, I think it would be worth it. I think it'd be worth it for almost everyone, because, and the example I used with my daughter when I was explaining to her about Undercover Colors, and I was also explaining this to my therapist because she never heard of it, was, okay, let's say you're on a date with Joe Blow, and maybe this is your second or third date, so you're feeling pretty comfortable, and he takes you out to a nice restaurant, and go to the bathroom, and you leave your drink and your food sitting right there. Maybe he does something to it. I mean, I hate to scare people, but that's kind of the reality of where we're at. But maybe you go to the restroom and maybe he does something to it while you're in the restroom. Maybe he doesn't. I mean, I don't know. But maybe he does. Maybe it's something odorless. Maybe it's something tasteless. When you get back to your seat and you take another bite of your food, the first thing you do, you take a bite of your food, you drink your drink. It's odorless, tasteless, you wouldn't know it. Your nails will change color. So let's say they were red and they turn black or purple or whatever. That means a toxin has entered your body and you need to get help like immediately. Like call 911 or call the police or something, but you need help immediately. Because that way, if there is a toxin in your body, they might be able to save you. And if Joe Blow put it in, they'll know it. Because you have Joe Blow's information, you're on second or third date with Joe Blow. You know his name, or at least the name he gives you. You have his phone number because he communicates with you. You might know where he lives. You probably know his car make and model by then, if you're paying attention. And that's something I recommend. I was talking to my daughter about. I'm like, when you go out with these people on our first date, don't get in their car. Meet them somewhere. Meet them in a public place. If you gotta go to the bathroom, don't leave a drink or anything sitting there. Either that, or when you get back, push it aside and say there's something wrong with it, and get the waitress and order a new one, whatever, something. Be careful when you're going out there, but don't let Joe Blow pick you up at your house. Meeting at a public place, a very public place. And if you don't know the place, or you kind of know the place but you don't know the neighborhood, might not even meet him there. You might suggest something else. Look it up online before you go. Try to do a video call with him before you go. Lots of things you can do to protect yourself. And unfortunately, in our world today, that's a thing. That's something that we all got to look out for. It's something we all got to consider. When we go out on a date with Joe Blow, maybe we should be careful. Maybe we should, like I said, get his name, have a phone number. If we can't get an address, at least get a general location of where he lives. Try to video chat with him before your first date. Make sure that it matches up, because at the very minimum, there's a risk of being catfished. If he gives you the name of a restaurant, look it up online. Google it. Find out. If you're not familiar with it, you've never been there before, Google it. Look it up. Find out where it is. Find out, not just for the information's sake so you know how to find it, but get some reviews on it. Call the restaurant. Check the areas around the restaurant. Get to know your location. Get to know your location. Get to know where the restaurant's at. Get to know the areas around the restaurant. Get to know everything about it, because this is your life. And this is what we're talking about. And this is a thing to do. I know I might sound paranoid and crazy, but it is getting worse out there. It's getting scary out there. You know? I got this guy I've been talking to now for a while. Seems like a nice enough guy. Wants to go out this weekend. I'll meet him. I'm not going to let him pick me up or anything, but the taser, the stun gun and the pepper spray, I'm going to take it with me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make sure the pepper spray is literally in a pocket or something where I can get to it. Oh, and something else I learned just this morning. Other people might already know this. Other people may have known this for years. This might be something old news to other people, but I learned it about my phone. I can set this phone up for emergency alerts. Not like Amber Alerts, but like if I'm in danger. And what it'll do is it'll reach out to everybody on my ICE list, case of emergency list. Like my children, things like my closest friends. It'll reach out to everybody on my IC list. It'll take a picture of front and back camera, what it sees in the front and the back camera, and it'll do like a 5-second audio clip of anything around me. And it keeps sending notifications every 15 minutes. If the battery on my phone is dying, it'll let them know my battery is low. So the person these people that it goes out to knows that you're in danger. They can see they can see the pictures, the front and back camera. They can see, they get a 5-second audio clip, and they get an alert where you're at every 15 minutes. So they can be calling, and if your phone's almost dead, they'll know that too. And they can notify the police for you. The phone notifies your ICE people and allows them the information that they need to find you. That's something I learned my phone does. I learned that this morning. I was just playing around with something else in settings and discovered it entirely by accident. Turned it on, not realizing what it did, and it sent an emergency alert to my daughter. It did a front and back camera view, because I was sitting on my bed, front view was my face, back view was my foot. Like took a picture of my foot on the bed. And it took a 5-second audio clip of the surroundings. And it sent her all this to her in a text message, and then it said, this person may be in danger. This is where they're at. And it sent a Google location, like a Google map location of where I was at. Because I didn't realize it did all that. I thought you would have to activate something. I thought you could turn it on and then maybe activate something later. From the moment you turn that on, it starts sending those messages. Because my daughter sent me like messages going, Mom, are you all right? And I'm like, oh, I'm not explaining to her. I'm like, yeah, I found it. I was playing with it. I'm sorry. So now I know where it is. I know how to find it. I know that you got to go into your settings. I know you go to, I'm going to tell you where it is, and now I may not know. Like if I was going through my settings, I could find it again, but I don't remember what setting I had to find it under. But I was looking for emergency alert systems because there was an Amber Alert that came up this morning, and I didn't get a chance to read it. I was about half asleep. And I think I clicked OK without really reading it, and I wanted to pull it back up and reread it. And I accidentally found this emergency alert thing. Your phone will take pictures where you're at. It'll do 5 video clips, and it notifies everybody on your ICE that you are in this. This is what the phone sees. This is what is going on. This is the audio clip to let you know. This is a Google Map link to let you know where your location is, and it tells the person this person is in danger. Because my daughter was like, "Wait a minute, what's going on? I can see you. I can see your foot, and I can tell you're in your room, but what's going on?" So, but now I know where it is. Like if I go through my settings, I know I can go down and I can find it again. So I'll have to look that up and make note of it, and I might be able to try to explain it better next time, because I just kind of stumbled onto it this morning, and I thought that was kind of neat. I didn't know phones did that. So that's kind of a handy thing. Like if you know you're in a situation that you're not going to be able to get out of real easy, and you still have access to your phone, turn that on, because and make sure you have ICE people set. My daughter's got me set as one of her ICE people. I've got her set, obviously, as one of my ICE people. I've got some people set that probably couldn't physically be there to help me, but they could call the police for me. You know what I'm saying? So while I sound like a worrywart, the world is more dangerous. Anyway, so back to what I was trying to say. So I'm talking to this guy, and we might go out this weekend, we might not. I don't know. I'm kind of iffy about him. But in the process of trying to date again, the other thing I wanted to touch upon is pickup lines. Oh my goodness. These men and their pickup lines. These are pathetic men and some sad, sad pickup lines. Oh my goodness. These people are sad. This one guy, his pickup lines were so bad. I finally said to him, and after I asked him nicely 2 or 3 times, I don't need these messages. Please stop doing this, blah, blah, blah. I kind of thought you were attractive, but now you're driving me nuts type thing. And he would not let up. He wouldn't leave me alone. And the pickup lines were one after another, and they were ridiculous. I finally got aggravated. I said, "Look, I know why you're single now. Your pickup lines are sad. They really are. If you can't pick up somebody like me, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. You're in big trouble. So no wonder you're single." That made him mad, and he left me alone. It wasn't my actual goal. I mean, yes and no. But yeah, but the pickup line. So I have a thought. I have an idea. Anybody that watches this, I want you to, in the comments, I want you to leave me either A, what you think the best safety tips are for people dating. Any safety tip you think is necessary for today's world. Or B, comment the cheesiest pickup line you've ever heard. I'm curious. And if you leave the comments, I engage. I'll respond. I'll respond. I find them funny. Like most of the times I just find them funny, but after a while they get irritating. Anyway, that's all I wanted to do is I want to touch on safety. I want to touch on society, dating, safety, all that stuff. All right? So if you like this video, kick the like button. Just hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. And if you want to see more like this, subscribe. If you know somebody wants to see stuff like this, tell them so they can like and subscribe. It does help me out a lot. So that's where we're at with this. It's been a great visit with y'all. Y'all are welcome to leave comments, ask questions. I will engage, like I said. And everybody have a beautiful and blessed day.